In a world where ex-superheroes must make money, they become mercenaries. When an infinitely powerful supervillain calling himself God King takes over Manhattan, the Jawbreakers are lured back to their home turf, New York City, to face their greatest challenge ever. So, once again, we have another volume of the adventures of the Jawbreakers that are, yes, ex-superheroes who become mercenaries. So it's, the Expendables meet, I don't know, the Avengers, I guess. Something like that. And they do it for money. I mean, what other reason is there? And so you had to have read Jawbreakers Lost Souls to at least follow, I think, the main story, which is the God King story of this volume. There are other stories in it, just like the last one, and actually the lead-in story of God King was in Lost Souls, so it leaves you on the cliffhanger when they show up in New York, and something interesting happens. There is a recap, but I don't know. You can't just read the recap. I think you really needed to read the previous story that sets it up, and then because it's very much like you read it isolated unto itself. Is it? Wait a minute, I missed something, or that kind of thing. And so it's a bit different than the last one, where the main story of Lost Souls, where they end up saving the giant ape, not King Kong at all, is a self-contained story. It's all there, and but whereas this one reads like the second issue of a comic series, but it's not. It's these two books. So I don't know. I was a bit iffy on that and how its presentation is. But once again, the art is absolutely beautiful. It's fantastic. It's all very well done. Some of the elements of the story from in this, as well as the last book, I would have thought could have been explored even further than it is, because it concludes. I mean, this is pretty much it. Will the Jawbreakers return? I'm sure they will in some form or fashion. Not to spoil too much, but anyway. So there's certain elements of it and other characters that we get a glance at. A lot of this stuff that I mean, maybe he will, over time. Some of these other characters that deal with God King and how he came to be and all that. And that piques my interest, in the hopes that maybe there will be more elements of that. As for I tell you, I don't want to spoil the story. I'm not, So let's see how. There's betrayal, of course. We saw that in the previous story, and it pretty much continues until there's some sort of redemption. Some mutilation of oneself, and the hero probably enjoying revenge a little too much on past enemies and this sort of thing. And the camaraderie is on display mostly between Silkworm and Cuffs, and the dialogue that goes between them, and things of this nature. You get giant robots, or robot suits, I guess, or however you put that. And Lovecraftian gods. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. But, Lovecraftian gods make their appearance in this story. So, it's a fun read, but I think that maybe just because I'm stuck on this, the presentation-wise, and that is dependent on the previous book and the setup from there into this one, whereas the Lost Soul story was more contained, and then by that stretch I'm saying it's better of the two. but still an enjoyable read. And then you get the other stories. Now, I didn't pay attention at first, and I forgot. It's been a while. You got to wait a while for these Indiegogo campaigns to be fulfilled and all that. And I was reading the Devil Dog story. And I say, wow, this is really good. And it's pretty good, and it especially utilizes dialogue a little better. And I was like, oh, this is the one Chuck Dixon wrote. But it's a good one. Yeah. And especially when it gets rolling, when Devil Dog lets loose on live television. So it's a good romp in that one. The return of Zashi is pretty good. It's a little too quick, I suppose, but it's very in keeping with comic book lore and superheroes and whatnot. And this sort of thing can just happen, You never know when cybernetic materials can just be laying around. You might want to take care of that. Don't just leave that lying there. And so that was interesting. And their solution for it, because all of a sudden, hey, what's going on here? And then you realize, well, what their solution was, at least for the moment. I'm assuming that will be revisited as well. And some of this is a lot of kind of a setup. And I think you could certainly see the God King story as a setup for other stories too, and all that. So, and once again, the artwork is top notch with these stories. And then finally, you get to what is presented as a preview, and yet it's more of a self-contained story than the main one. But it's a setup for Desolation Wave, this science fiction story. Featuring nothing but aliens, at least in this vignette, this preview, if you will. Humanoid aliens nonetheless, but still. So a bit of a display or an observation of minds and humanity to mind, except none of them are men, or humans rather. It's all these aliens. But still, you get the idea. And a strange turnabout of events there that, leaves it open for what would come next, I assume. We'll have to wait and see what Desolation Wave will become. So, a nice package, another a good achievement on Mr. Meyer's part for his projects going forward. And, oh yes, and another lovely, lovely photograph of everyone's favorite Luna. Yes, that's always a nice send-off. So, I would recommend you go to stores now to buy. But, yeah, thanks to certain bizarre events, that's just not an option at the moment. But still, as I record this, Jawbreakers, God King, the graphic novel, is at this point at Indiegogo in demand. I will leave the link in the description below. I don't know how long, I forget actually how long that status lasts, but you still have an opportunity to snatch up yourself a copy of Jawbreakers, God King. And I do recommend you do so, especially if you read the last one. So, you'll want to check that out. That's right. All right, thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you. And, of course, don't forget to find me at that other video platform, BitChute, because, well, you just never know, do you? You don't. So anyway, check out the Mr. Nailsin channel on BitChute. That's bitchute.com.